Our next speaker needs no introduction, a world-renowned scientist, author, and global pharma expert, Professor Dr. Sarfaraz Khan Niazi, founder of Pharmaceutical Science Incorporation, professor at the University of Illinois, Chicago. He will speak on Future-Ready Pharma, Redesigning Pakistan's Pharma for Global Competitiveness, a conversation on SRA-grade quality, trust, and the foundation of sustainable export growth. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Niazi.
Hello everybody, this is Sarfaraz Niazi. I'm in Chicago right now, and I'm very delighted to have this opportunity to speak to you about a topic which is extremely important, more important today than ever. And this summit may work out to be the best way to convey a new spirit of pharmaceuticals in Pakistan. So first, let's take a look at where do we stand and what is the market. You can see that the global market is mainly in North America, and between Europe and North America, we are talking about more than 65% of the world market. But look at the markets, for example, in Middle East and Africa, less than 3%. When you talk about Asia Pacific, okay, which includes China, which includes many large countries, it is still relatively small. But I recently heard that there was a report that Pakistan has pharma market of more than $400 million. So let's take a look at what does it mean in terms of per capita consumption. You know, in the US, okay, now it's about $1,200 per person. And in Pakistan, okay, it's about $12. So it's about 1% of what is the US. But Bangladesh has a higher per capita consumption. But look at India has a lower per capita consumption because of the manufacturing domestically. So the point I'm raising here is that for the Pakistani pharma market to have any impact, they must look into global. We use this sentence, I call make it local and sell it global. So today I'm talking about that topic. How can Pakistan become an export country, which it is not. It doesn't has anything to do with how small or large you are. The population of 6 million in Switzerland, do you know what they do? So to move forward, okay, I think the only way to do it is to secure approval in a stringent regulatory authorities, because 85% of the market is controlled by them. Okay. Some companies in Pakistan are happy selling to poor African countries, and they consider that to be an export. There's nothing to be proud of that part. If you really want to do something, get the approval in one of the SRA countries. And I'll explain to you why is that important beyond the business aspects. If you have FDA or EMA approval, you have a global credibility. You can sell anywhere. With an FDA approval, you can sell into 200 countries. Why not go for that, okay? Today, Pakistan has zero exports to any SRA country. And without the SRA, okay, you will remain globally invisible. Here are the countries that are exporting to SRA countries. I had the privilege of teaching companies in Bangladesh. They understood, Bangladesh doesn't have anything economically or otherwise better than what Pakistan can offer. But they understood the importance of it, okay. And I will explain to you what are the limitations that Pakistan has that Bangladesh was able to overcome. But the best example is your neighbor country, okay, that has the largest export market of generics and other chemicals. Now they are doing biological drugs. I worked with a very recently with a company to get them approval in US for biological drugs also. So the point is that why isn't Pakistan in this list? So recently, actually, Rizwan shared with me this paper, which I thought was very timely. It came out just a few weeks ago, I believe. Okay, it's written by many members of the Faculty of Pharmacy in Pakistan. And I couldn't find a better example of the mindset and the limitations of the business practices in Pakistan. So I'll just go through it quickly. So the findings and the conclusions in this paper are that Pakistan has a strong export potential, but is blocked by inadequate R&D and weak CGMP compliance. And I agree with that. It's not, the only thing I don't agree with is it's not blocked. Okay? And if you want to go around it, nothing can block you. But what I disagreed was that the regulators identify systemic gaps, and then they talk about poor academia and industry linkage. Now, these are the political words, okay? You don't need academia. Forget about them. They don't have no knowledge of anything that is lead to with GMP. Then they talk about draft lacks WHO accreditation. What has that to do with exporting the products? Even if a company in Pakistan goes to WHO and gets GMP certification, it means nothing. WHO doesn't allow you to sell it anywhere. Okay? So the point is, why are we bothering with these things, okay, which don't really matter? Then we have the involvement of government. I don't know why we are talking about that, okay? And other things which are really not that relevant, okay? So let's talk about, in this paper, okay, they're saying, what are the key barriers, okay? Again, going to R&D, limited capacity for BE, DRAP, implementing GMP. Enablers, also I disagree. None of these things have any value. For example, government incentives for API production and reduced taxes. I think these are all what I call blaming statements as to why the industry is not doing good. Had nothing to do with it. It's the business practice. You're gonna make money, boatload of it. You have to invest to get there. Simple as that, okay? None of these things are of any significance or any value in what I'm suggesting to you today. The mindset of the Pakistani pharma, and I had the privilege of knowing and interacting with just about all major companies, okay? The first question they ask is, what is the ROI, return on investment? The business development teams are your worst enemy. I say, you get the product approved, you will make money. Product approved in SRA. You cannot look at the market in Pakistan and say, well, this is not justified or it is justified. Okay. Nothing to do with Pakistani market. You want to sell globally. So what they do, most of the companies here, they just go to the lower regulatory guideline. Let's go to Africa, let's go to here and there and get listed as exporters. I think there is no need for any company in Pakistan to sell to these countries. Then they go for the cheapest API available. I'm sure you know, and I don't have to explain the difference between a cheap API and a compliant API. Hardly any company in Pakistan imports API that could be called as a GMP API. Now, that brings the risks to patients, that brings the risks to your ability to export. Recently, I came across with some companies who are now saying we're going to bring an API in biologic drugs. I tried to explain there is no API for biologics. The DS is the DP. You know, there is a mindset that is making them lose where is the future of pharma. Anyone who reads the history will tell you, okay, it's the biologics are coming. No company in Pakistan makes biologics. Couple of them just simply import some DS and package it, which is absolutely wrong thing to do. And quality, you know, what they did in India, I didn't agree with it, but they set up separate companies, separate facilities, one for export, one for India. I told them, you know, if you think Indians have a different genes than Americans, then it's justified. But I'm not here to fix the mankind, okay? I just want to make sure that from a business point of view, you are doing things which are productive. So let's look at what SRAs demand. First of all, there's nothing that the SRA demands that is out of line or out of minimum compliance considerations. Here's some of the outlines. Process, you know, I think serialization and tracking systems, which are now, I believe Rizwan is working on it also. So none of these things are new to anybody or any company in Pakistan. Okay. But I wanted to clarify one major thing is the FDA GMP versus the rest of the world GMP, or I will say rest of the SRA GMP. If somebody tells you that they are FDA certified, they are lying to you. FDA does not certify any company or any GMP. They only approve a product. Now, you can get a certification from, I think, EU or MHRA and even WHO. But my point has always been, what does WHO certification mean? It doesn't give you license to sell anything anywhere. If you really want to do it, get the European certification, but even better, get the US approval. And so I'm going to give you the briefest description of how FDA will give you approval. In an FDA audit, they hardly go on the flooring. They don't touch the walls and other things like WHO does and tells you how clean they are. They sit in the office and the first question, it is in that order. Okay? So make sure you don't mix up the order. They go and find out by talking to the operators, are they following the SOP? At that point, they don't question what is the SOP. They only say, do you follow it? You know what? I've sat into many FDA audits, okay. Half of the time, No, no, I work here every day. I don't read it or I don't follow it. Okay, that is the number one reason why FDA denies you product registration. Second thing, keep in mind this comes after following. Okay, do you have enough SOPs? Why is that number two? Because you can always add SOP. But how do you change the mindset of your workers who would not follow SOPs? Okay. And then the third one comes, if you have an SOP, is it the right SOP? These are only three things you need to understand in that order to secure registration of your products with FDA. So these things should be a common practice every day. Now, when you do your own internal audit, make sure there is no one who has a conflict of interest involved in evaluating it. You can even ask marketing people or business or finance people to do the audit. But this is something I want you to do and figure out, okay, how good is your system. And all of these are readily curable. So my proposal is that should you decide today at this beautiful venue, I wish I was there personally, okay, but I couldn't make it. I think we can go through an SRA entry plan, a 5-year plan that will take us to 2030, and first FDA approved facility, EMA approved long term. In the case of FDA, you will have a product approved. Now, these numbers I'm giving you are based on that you don't have readiness today. In many cases, you can compress this significantly. We can work backwards. We can find a product which has a shortage in the US, so that's on fast track approval, and then go back and see whether we can make it in a compliance mode or not. India, had this market went from 300 million to 25 billion after FDA approvals came. Bangladesh has now EMA access. Okay. Jordan and Morocco are now entering very fast. Okay. And I'm talking about economic expansion. Okay. I hear complaints that the dollar is rising, but my question always goes back, why is rupee going down? You're not making enough foreign exchange. Why not sell $10 billion worth of products to SRAs and raise the value of Pakistani currency? But again, I must repeat that my theory is that make it local, sell it global. And in making it local, think of this way, you are not making it to sell in Pakistan. Because you can never justify financially, okay, for whatever reason, okay. I'm not here criticizing any regulatory agency, any economy. Today we are talking about how to export. And export can be done from any part of the world to any other part of the world. Everything else that we need to do, AI, pharma, and innovations, everything comes secondary. But the good thing is that you already have access to many of these things. Okay. How much money will it take? It all depends on what kind of products you are planning to export. I will suggest you go first with oral products that may not require a lot of compliance issues. Segregate the facility so FDA doesn't get involved into those parts of the company which are not producing the exported the product you're exporting of them. And you know, once you have an FDA product approval, you will never talk about where the money comes from. There will be a lot of money available. You know, Pakistan is not a poor country. Let me just tell you, when I met with Ziaul Haq many years ago, of course, he said, and I'm quoting, he says, in Pakistan, the people are rich, the government is poor. He was probably right, okay. So there's a lot of money available here. You have to show that you can get an ROI by going global. And once you have a regulatory trust built, there will be no shortage of what you can do across the globe. Pakistan's international recognition hinges on a single milestone. Let's get the FDA approval. Okay? And let's get the business part of it done very well. But more important, how it will impact, which is the most important topic today, how will it impact on the quality of medicines in Pakistan for Pakistanis? You know, I feel bad saying this, okay, but the cost at which you are selling these drugs today in Pakistan and the mindset that we talked about, the drugs are not the best in quality in Pakistan. We all know this. I'm not being critical. I'm just trying to be fair. But once you have your mindset, once you know the difference between a qualified product and the one that is not qualified, your conscience will not allow you to sell those unqualified products to anyone in Pakistan. So one of the side impact is that the quality of drugs in Pakistan will also increase. Okay. Again, you have many constraints, the price control and so on and so forth. Okay. But once the affordability goes higher, the per capita goes higher, many of these things can be resolved. The first thing has to come first, okay? That is, you get the product approved by an SRA country. अपनी दुनिया आप पैदा कर अगर जिंदों में है, ये एक ऐसी दास्तान है जो वेरी क्लोज टू माई हार्ट, और मुझे पूरी उम्मीद है कि आप लोग आज की ये जो महफिल है इस पे गौर करेंगे कि हमारा माइलस्टोन क्या है। आपको बहुत से लोग एडवाइस करेंगे कि आप क्यों इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं इस पे, जबकि हम पैसा कमा रहे हैं बेच के ड्रग्स अफ्रीका में या पाकिस्तान में। इन चीज़ों से मुल्क आगे नहीं बढ़ सकता। बहुत सी चीज़ें और करनी है हमको इस मुल्क में, जिसका जिक्र मैं आज नहीं करूँगा क्योंकि वो दास्तान लंबी हो जाएगी। लेकिन मैं आज की तकरीर यूँ ख़त्म करूँगा कि मेक इट लोकल and sell it global. Pay no attention to constraints in Pakistan and pay no attention to your business development people who may not understand the bigger concept of the business growth. Thank you and shukriya.